Welcome back to the Beyond the Arc podcast. My name is Yash. I'm on staff here at Cal Poly. And today we have a really special guest, Bandelj, or as we call him, Peter. He's a sophomore at Cal Poly, came off an incredible freshman season, and most notably just came off a run at the FIBA U20 EuroBasket representing his home country, Slovenia. So he's excited to get this conversation going. Peter, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, Yash. Yeah, I'm doing good. Just finished up the U20 championship, enjoying a slight break at home before we get back to work.
Love it, love it. Perfect. Just want to dive into a little deeper into your experience at the FIBA U20 EuroBasket. For the audience who may not be as familiar, tell us where you've been the last few weeks and how the experience at the U20 EuroBasket was for you.
Yeah, so when I got back home, I went straight to training camp with the national team, and it's a great experience because it's like the best of your age in the whole nation. You're representing your country, so it's different. It's different pressure, different expectations, and we prepared for the under 20 EuroBasket, or like the European Championship, which was held in Greece on an island in the city of Heraklion, which is beautiful, by the way. And so we prepared for like a month, played some friendly games here and there, and then we went to the tournament, played 7 games, and in the end we finished seventh, 2 wins, 5 losses. But it's quite challenging. 7 games in 9 days. It's not easy. I'll say that.
For sure, for sure. And as you mentioned, it's against some of the best in the world at your age as well. Diving a little deeper into your role on the team, walk us through your role. What were your expectations going in? And how did your role evolve as the tournament progressed?
Yeah, so my expectations coming in were just try to do anything I can to help out the team. I'm a team player, and I kept an open mind. I didn't know what the coach was gonna need from me. And when I came in, the coach said, we need, you to be a dog on defense, and we need you to, keep up the scoring with the bench unit. And that's what he asked from me, and that's what I try to do throughout the preparation period and throughout the whole tournament. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Definitely an important role, as you mentioned. What were your biggest takeaways on and off the floor? Again, as you mentioned, playing against some of the best in the world, not just your competition, but with your teammates as well. So yeah, what were your biggest takeaways on and off the floor?
I mean, I learned a lot. It was an experience for sure. Just maybe just playing 7 games in 9 days against some high level competition. It just teaches you, maybe you lose a game, hard fought game. You can't dwell on it. You just have to be ready for the next one. You can, you just gotta like erase it from your memory. Just gotta prepare for the next opponent, the next great players that are gonna be up against, and you always got to be ready to make adjustments. Each team is different. You got to know what you have, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and you got to make sure that your strengths come to the forefront and that your weaknesses are hidden.
For sure. You mentioned specific matchups. Was there any particular moment or matchup, or just in general a challenging situation in the tournament that particularly stood out to you?
Let me see. I mean, we played some good teams. I mean, we had
Yeah.
France and Serbia just off the bat, but I'd say maybe Greece. Greece was a fun one. We played in their home country, in front of their home fans, and a player that I kind of got the chance to go one on one against, guarding him. He's guarding me is Nauklis Avdalas. I think he's projected like first round the next year's draft. So that was a pretty fun one. I mean, it's just competition day in, day out. It's the European Championships. There's no easy games for sure.
Absolutely, that's a good answer. And now taking it to the context of your team, was there a particular coach or teammates who really impacted you, and people that you learned a lot from?
I would say just our whole team, vibe in general. It was just like very supportive. As I said, like we started off like kind of 0-3. It was kind of rough, and just the way the European Championship is the fourth game is the most important one. Like if you win the fourth game, you advance to the quarterfinals. So it's just the resilience of our team and sticking together, believing in each other, not giving up. It's very important. Sometimes team chemistry can make up for, a slight lack of talent, or, anything else that's going on. Team chemistry is very important, especially in a sport like basketball. for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. How close was that bond with your teammates? Like, what was it like? As you mentioned, like it was a nice city in Greece. That's part of the experience as well. What was it like in that camaraderie, building that camaraderie with your teammates off the floor?
Yeah, I mean, it starts in training camp. You're over there with the guys, for I don't know, like 5 days straight, just practicing, getting better, and it helps when it's guys you get along with, as well, and it translates on the court as well. When you run a play, you know what each guy is gonna do. You've seen him do something a bunch of times, so you kind of expect it, and it just makes playing easier. It just helps out on the court, and just the energy. It picks you up when you're down, or you can pick a teammate up when they're down, and it's really important for sure in a tournament like
Sure,
this.
absolutely. And bringing it forward to the present now, did you bring anything back from your experience that you think will really impact your season, give you an edge this coming year at Cal Poly?
Maybe, I mean, it's a lot of things, but maybe just the resilience. Just how resilient you have to be. You can't, as I said, you can't let one game bring you down. You always have to stick to the game plan that the coach draws up. Stick to it, believe in it, and believe in your teammates. Believe that they'll do the right play, you'll do the right play, and in the end, that's what's gonna bring us success.
For sure. As you mentioned, the 7 games in 9 days. Could you sort of envision that similar to the Big West Conference tournament sort of atmosphere, right? This
Yeah.
short timeline, lots of basketball, so we can definitely see the parallels there. Resilience especially important. Talking about Cal Poly and your season, reflecting on your freshman season, you had a phenomenal year. Were really able to build a role for yourself as the season went on, and were really key to success. What do you think in particular clicked for you last season, and what moments are you especially proud of?
I
Maybe.
mean, yeah, last year was a great season for all of us as a team. I think it was like the best season for Cal Poly in like 14 years or something. We beat Stanford. We made it to the semifinals of the Big West tournament. As for myself, I just think with the coaches and the teammates, the coaches are amazing. They helped you learn the system. They helped you become a better basketball player, which is at the end of the day all you can ask for. And then I was also lucky to have the older teammates, who came in with Coach DeGeorge, knowing the system. And it's different, it's a different dynamic when you have with your teammates. Maybe they can help you out with some other stuff that the coaches sometimes even can't really. So I was lucky and fortunate in that sense. And then as the season went on, and I understood, what was asked from me more and more on the both on the defensive and offensive end, I just kind of found my role, found what I needed to do on the court, how I could help the team, and at the end of the day, it brought me success and it brought team success, and that's that's all we can ask for.
For sure, for sure. And talking about the team success, this might be tough to think about on the spot, but what were some of your favorite wins of the season?
I mean, the Stanford win has got to be up there. Let me see. What are some other ones? We went on a little winning streak to end of the year, probably against Riverside at the Big West tournament. That was a pretty fun one, getting to the semifinals. But yeah, if I had to pick just one, it'd probably be the Stanford one. It was just, we came into halftime down by 10. Coach George gave us a speech about, guys, we can remember this moment in 20 years when when we do a reunion, and think back to this moment, and we say this is how we beat Stanford, and in the end we pulled it off, and I think that was just an amazing moment.
For sure. Coach has had a lot of legendary speeches throughout last season. That's got to be up there for close to the top for sure. And then bringing it back to your individual context, obviously you were coming to a different country in America. You had to adapt quickly to the Division I environment. Obviously, you were able to have a lot of success at the end of it all. But what were your biggest adjustments coming over from Europe and then Canada to then the U.S. college game?
Yeah, I mean, the college game just in itself, in and of itself, is so much different from any other basketball. Even from high school basketball, you have the halves aspect, 20 minutes, and then the fouls and the shot clock and everything. So it's something I had to adjust to. That's not present here in Europe. Is players getting to call timeouts. It's just like little things like that that like sort of add up, and you just you just have to adapt. Fortunately, I was able to come in the summer, and I was working out when we played in practice. Just getting used to that stuff. Once it came to the season, I was more prepared. Then, just the talent level is very good. But as I said, I felt that we can compete. We were close in the game against Arizona State. We beat Stanford. And it felt nice being able to compete against those Power Four schools and just play the brand of basketball that we do, which is fun. Yeah.
For sure. Another thing too I recall is the check-ins when you check into the game. There's a little different system here versus Europe,
Yeah.
I believe, right?
Yeah. Yeah. In Europe, when there's a timeout, you can just, the coach subs you and you just go into the game. You don't have to check in with the table. But in the States, you have to go to the table every time and like physically like go like, sub. And I kept forgetting that at the start of the year. And then the first couple of times, the coach was like, "All right, just go." After I did it, like the 10th time, he was like, "Come on, man." Um, it's just like a small difference, it's not the end of the world, but it's just, small differences. Yeah, that's all it is. It's
Absolutely.
basketball at the end of the day.
Yes, and it's a learning environment. Everyone had to learn and adjust and adapt to each other's backgrounds. I could speak from the perspective of the staff. That was a big part of it last year as well. Along the line of the staff, you mentioned you learned a lot from coach. What were some key takeaways working with coach as well as the rest of the coaching staff last season that really helped elevate your game?
I mean, there's so many. I mean, it's the way we play is just so specific that, you kind of you have to learn a lot. Even, if you've played in different systems before, which I have, I've played in youth national teams, I've played in the senior divisions in Slovenia, I played in Canada, but the way we play just requires a different kind of skill set, and the coaches here really know how to articulate that and teach it. So it wasn't that hard for me to pick it up. All you have to do is just listen to what they're saying and actually put it onto the court. Uh, you know, and specific things would probably be just, for example, on defense, just the gap help. I used to be a player that wouldn't be in the gap as much, but our system dictates that we be more in the gap and then fan out to the shooters. And after I started doing that, it was more satisfied with my defense, which showed in my minutes. And it's just it's a process. You just have to actually listen to what they're saying to you and do it. That's all it is.
For sure. Yeah, that sounds like the formula of success for sure. That was some things, great things you mentioned on the floor. Were there any takeaways that you learned off the floor from the coaches? Again, this is part of the student athlete experience is that aspect as well.
Yeah. I mean, the coaches are amazing off the court. They'll help you with anything. They're just great people. I mean, that's what I've learned. I've learned that if you're a good person, good things will come to you. And our coaches are just they're authentic. They're gonna say what they think. They're gonna help you out. They're always there for you. And I just learned to follow their example. I just try to be the best person I can be off the court, and I feel like if you do that, it translates onto the court as well. If you help a teammate off the court, you're gonna make the extra pass on the court. It just at the end of the day, it translates to winning. So that's what we do.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are some great takeaways. Now, looking ahead to your coming sophomore season, a big year ahead, excited to see what's to come. Curious from your perspective, now again, successful freshman season, FIBA tournament under your belt. What are your goals for this upcoming season, both from the individual and team standpoint?
Yeah. From the individual standpoint, I just want to build on my freshman season. I just want to keep working on my game, work on my weaknesses, show my strengths. As I said, we have 5 more months before the season starts. Getting in with the team, with the guys, and maybe being the leader that the older guys were for me when I came into the new system. Being that leader and showing the new guys how our system works. Now that I know it better, and kind of showing them how to approach things. And then from a team standpoint, it's to improve on our last season, improve on the record, get a better seed, head into the Big West conference tournament and win it and make the NCAA tournament.
Love that. I know that I would be a big fan of that for sure. That's
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
You mentioned on the court goals, off the court goals. Again, as you mentioned, the culture that's being built here, it's all of that. The off the floor camaraderie directly impacts what's happening on the floor, and obviously you've been a big part of that last season, and excited to have you be a part of that this coming season as well. And now switching gears, going into more of the student side of the student athlete. Tell us about your academic interests. What are you studying at Cal Poly? What's your major, and why?
Yeah, so I study psychology. I'm a psychology major, and I picked that major because I'm interested in the human brain. I'm interested in how it works, what makes a human, develop, think about something, it's just something that's interesting to me personally. It's an enigma how our brain, it literally is, it thinks about itself, It's our brain, like when we are researching our brains, it's our brains that are thinking about our brains. So I don't know, it's just something that's, kind of interesting to me, and I feel like I could see myself becoming a psychologist.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you're right. It is really interesting. I mean, because we've been around for so long, and as humans, as a population, and right now all the talk is about all the different areas we're studying, but it feels like there's still so much to be studied about ourselves. So
Yeah, exactly,
absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah, so it's definitely interesting for sure. Again, and you've only had 1 year of classes here at Cal Poly, but uh, I'm curious, what's your favorite class and or professor so far?
Let me see my
Yeah,
favorite
put you on the spot.
class. Probably be Psychology 201, the intro class. It was taught by two professors. They were actually a older couple, and it was a fun dynamic because they each had one lecture, so they kind of complemented each other, and it was just like a fun, wholesome environment. I enjoyed that class the most, I would say. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And Cal Poly, we have the motto "Learn by doing." Have you experienced that in your classes as well?
Not yet, since I'm a freshman, but I think in my sophomore junior year we have a class that we get to actually be a be a therapist, I guess, to another student. So yeah, I'm excited for that once I know more about psychology for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and excited to see. Maybe you'll be out here diagnosing teammates. Who knows? We'll see. For sure. And moving away now from the class experience, as well as the athlete side, San Luis Obispo, it's an incredible city. There's a lot to do. How do you unwind when you're not on the court or doing coursework? What are some ways that you spend your free time?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, San Luis Obispo is just, in my honest opinion, I haven't seen the whole of America, but I've seen some parts of it, and it's one of the best parts that I've been to personally. I mean, when I'm not playing basketball or studying for school, I'm going to the beach. I'm taking a hike on one of the surrounding peaks. Maybe I'm reading the book. Just enjoying my time in San Luis Obispo. It's it's never boring here. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Any particular hikes you want to shout out here in SLO? Any favorites?
Hikes? Yeah, yeah, yeah. My favorite one so far was Valencia Peak. That's a great one up Montaña de Oro. And there's one other above Morro Bay, but I don't quite remember its name. But that was a great view as well.
Okay, sweet. And who do you usually go with on hikes? Any teammates or friends? What's the vibe?
Yeah, yeah. My usual hike mate is or was, I guess, Isaac Jessup when he was here. Yeah, yeah. He's not gonna be with us anymore next year. Yeah, he was just he was into hiking, coming from Colorado, and he had a car. So, we just drove to the hiked up, took some pictures, had some fun. It's always a fun time with Isaac around for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, another way to build chemistry too, on and off the floor, get to know your teammates a little
Yep,
better.
exactly.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Any books you want to shout out? You said you've been reading. Any books or any shows that you want to put the audience onto?
For books, I've been reading the Harry Potter series.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that's kind of childish, but I don't
No.
know, man. I like them. I like them. They're very engaging. I'll say that. The plot, they have some plot twists, so they're fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with that. There's no bar on when to read what. As you know, like especially the Harry Potter franchise, both the books and series. As far as I'm concerned, it's for everybody. That's a great shout for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had a good talk so far. We've covered a lot of points. Last one for you. If you could send a message to Cal Poly fans this coming season as we get ready for it, what would it be?
Be ready and be hyped because we're coming next year. We're gonna build on what we started this past season, and we're gonna improve it and make it even better.
I
That
love it.
that's what my message would be.
I love it. Yeah, fans have a lot to look forward to, both from Peter individually as well as the team overall next season. We're excited here as a staff and as a team, and we're excited to see you guys roll out too to mod and bring back that mod magic. Excited to get started.
Yes,
Peter,
sir. My
thank you.
magic.
Yeah, there we go. Peter, thank you for your time. Thanks for having a chat, talking about a lot of things, and yeah, hope you have a good one, man. Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.